Hello everyone, welcome to another amazing tutorial, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to cut a senator outfit. Believe you me, it's going to be a brief and detailed video. Stay tuned and let's get started. Alright, as you can see, I've gone ahead to cut out the bodies, the front and the back panel. You can see this is the front, this is the back, and I'll explain how I get this distance. Okay, now to get this fold, the front is folded into two while the back is also folded into two. You can see like this. So to get this fold, what will you use your highest measurement, the highest circumference measurement. If it's the tummy, like people who have a pot belly, if the tummy is bigger than the chest, you use the tummy, divide by 4 plus 3 inches. Okay, and if the chest is bigger than the tummy, why not, you use the chest. Let's assume that the chest is 50 or 40. You do your 40 divide by 4 plus 3 inches. That means you are going to have 13 inches. Okay, that is what you will do. Now this is how I get this one, and the next thing we are going to do is to continue to the cutting proper. That is to make sure we cut the front as it should be and the back. Now come with me while I measure this thing. If you can see very well, both the front and the back have equal length here, which is not supposed to be so. Now I'm going to reduce the front by 4 inches. Okay, the front is shorter than the back by 4 inches or 3.5 or 3 inches as you wish. So that means I'm going to reduce my front by 4 inches. So my back is going to be longer than the front by 4 inches. So this is what I do here. I'll reduce it this way. Now let me cut it out so that we'll understand properly. Now my front is shorter, so the next thing to do is to measure your neck circumference. The neck circumference I'm using here is 16, and when you divide that, you are going to have the width is going to be 2.5. that is the width of the neck, and the depth is going to be 4.5, but we will not do that yet. I'm just going to use the width for now to get my shoulder slant. Okay, so stay with me. I'm going to do another detailed tutorial on how to measure or how to divide or cut a perfect neckline. Okay, so now the second thing we'll do is to measure our shoulder divide by 4. The shoulder width we are using here is 18 inches. Okay, 18 inches divide by 2, rather not 4. Divide 18 inches by 2, it will give us 9. Then add half inch for joining or sewing allowance. This is it. On that point, you measure your shoulder slant. Now the shoulder slant depends, can be 2 inches, 2.5, or even 3 inches. Okay, for male. Now I'm using 2 inches here, and I'll slant it this way. You can see I slant it from the point of the neck downward. Now cut across the 2 inches I come down with. You can see that is the essence of this method. Then we cut it out. We cut it out this way, after which we'll come back to the back. We can do the same thing to the back here. You understand? We do the same thing. Mark our 2.5, we mark our 9.5, we mark 2 inches and slant the back. Or we can come here and slant our tape like this from here to here. We leave a distance of 4 inches for the back and the front. That time you can mark your 4 inches here you still do the same thing. It will give you the same thing. So I'm going to continue this way. You can see what I have here, and I'll cut out the back as well. So both are already slanted. The next step is to mark out half of an inch here, because both are going to be overlapped by half of an inch. This is the sewing allowance to join both the front and the back together. So I mark out my half of an inch here, and I overlap the back like this, fold the back to overlap by half of an inch. If you are working with your iron, pressing iron, you can press it down, but now my iron is not here, so I will use pin to hold it down for me. Okay, this is it. The next thing is we are going to retrace back our neckline again, 2.5, and the depth is 4.5. okay, I can connect it this way, or you use your curve ruler, but I'm going to use my free hand to get that. Make sure your neck is well curved. You can see, even if you didn't get it proper from here, when you join the both together, you can retrace your neck very well. So sometimes you will advise to cut less than you need and retrace it after you join the shoulder. So the next thing is going to be marking our shoulder divided by 2 again. The shoulder is 18 divided by 2, 9. 9 plus half inch allowance, 9.5. Then the armhole depth is going to be shoulder divided by 2. That is 9 inches. Okay, we'll come down again and mark our 9.5 here. Then we'll connect it straight. Connect it straight like this. Then the next thing to do is to curve your armhole. You place your armhole curve like this. You can see. But before then, I'll give you a guide. You first of all mark your chest divide by 4. The chest circumference divide by 4. Now our chest is 42. 42 divided by 4. It will give me 10.5. I'll mark my 10.5 right here. Then the sewing allowance I'm going to use is just 1 inch. So I'll mark it this way. Now you divide the armhole depth by 2. You can see that is 9 inches divided by 2, 4.5. I'll mark this is the midpoint. At that midpoint, I'll come down by 1 inch. I'll still mark again. So that 1 inch point now, I'll go in by half inch. You understand? This is for the back armhole. Then for the front armhole, I'll still go in by another half inch. That is a total of 1 inch from this point. So then I'll place my armhole curve like this to touch the point here at the shoulder, and touch the half inch point here, and also touch the main chest measurement, not the allowance here. You can see. So I'll connect from that point now. If you cannot get it once with your armhole curve, you can place it the way that it will come to this and to this. But for me, I get it once, and I'm going to curve it this way. You can see what I have. I hope it's clear. Then I'll still place my armhole this way and mark for the front. This is it. This is what we have. This is what we have here. Then I'll move to the waistline. That's the tummy. I'll mark the tummy length. The length we're using for the tummy here is 17.5. This is 17.5. I'll mark that here. This is my 17.5. At that point, I'm going to place my tummy measurement. Okay, I'll place my tummy measurement. The tummy, what I'm going to use here is, the tummy is just less than the chest by just half inch. Now I have 11.5 here. I'm going to use 11 on this point. Okay, I just reduce half inch for that. I don't want it to have too much shape here, so that is why I just reduce it by half inch. This is it. Then the next thing is to measure the hip area, around the seat area. Okay, So before then, I'll mark out my slit. I have folding allowance of 3 inches here. You can see my folding allowance, that's the hem line, is going to be 3 inches here. So I'll mark that out. Then from that 3 inches point, I'll mark 9 inches long for my slit. My slit, I want it to be 9 inches from that point. Then on that point where the slit stop, that is where I will mark my seat. That is the hip divided by 4. Now I'll just add, if you didn't measure your hip, what will you do? Add 1 inch or 0.75 to your chest. This is what I have, 11.5 plus 0.75 or 1 inch, it will give me 12.5. okay, so I don't want it to be too shapely. I'll use 12.25 here. Okay, that means I added just 0.25. You can see what I have here. This is the curve I have. You can cut your senator outfit straight if it's a very free one. Okay, now the next thing to do, to take note of, is the front slit. I'm going to come down by 7.5 for that and mark my front slit. I will slit this place to this point. You understand? The essence of front slit is to enable the head to pass through the neck, because we are going to cut the neck small fitted, which normally the head will not pass through. But when you introduce a slit at the front, it's going to make it to be more open for the head to pass through. That is why we put button at the front, or you can put zip on the shoulder or zip for the front. This is the purpose of that. Now I'll move to the cutting. First, I'll cut the back armhole. Cut out the back armhole this way. Then I'll cut out the body following my marking this way. This is it. And then the next thing to do is to come back and cut the front armhole. I can remove this part first and cut here. Make sure you are cutting only the front at this point, not with the back again. You can see now, see the distance here, half of an inch. Then I'll retrace this one back here. This is what I have. The next thing is to cut our neck. Cut our neck the way we mark, this way. And on this point, you can notch this point like this. Now I'll remove my pin and show you something. You can see this is how the fold goes for the neck earlier. You see that this place comes up. You cannot leave your neck like this. Therefore, you come down by either 0.75 or half inch. Okay, and then you curve the neck properly. You can see now, once we fold it back as it was, you can see what we have now instead of like this. Okay, this is a perfect neckline. The next thing is to slit my, I'll notch this point of 7.5, yes. Then I'll slit my front downward. You can do this later on after you iron, you gum the front, but I used to do my own this way. This is everything you need about the senator outfit cutting. The next thing is to move to the sleeve cutting. You mark or measure your armhole this way, the back armhole, measure it this way. I have 11 here. That is the exact armhole I'm going to cut for my sleeve. So I'll bring my fabric back and then fold for the sleeve. Sorry about the noise in the background, but this video is very necessary and I'm making the video during the day, so my shop is very close to the road. That is why you are hearing the noise of the vehicles and all of that. Now the next thing to do is we fold our fabric again this way. It was folded into two and I still fold again, meaning we are cutting the front and the back sleeve together. Okay, both the front and the back sleeve together. If I have iron, I will press this one flat, which is very advisable. But now, because I need to do this tutorial, do this video rather, I will continue even without lights. So now, first here, I'm going to mark out my folding allowance. Let me make sure the hem of my fabric is straight. Yeah, it is. Then I'll mark out folding allowance for the hem of the sleeve. That is 3 inches here, and I'll mark that point straight this way. Then from that point I will measure my sleeve. The sleeve length I'm going to use here is 15 inches. Okay, 15 inches plus half an inch for shoulder joining, to join the sleeve to the armhole or to the body. So I'll mark my 15.5 here. I'll connect that. Now, one thing you should know. Good morning. So the folding here, your folding here, the wideness you should fold is your bicep plus 2 inches. Okay, your bicep plus 2 inches. That is how you fold the sleeve. So that is how I get my folding here. Now the next thing is you come down by 4.5 for sleeve cap. 4.5 for your sleeve cap. You are going to make a curve from here to this point. Let the curve not too deep and too shallow. This is what I have. Okay, make it a nice curve this way. This is for the back armhole. I will retrim it for the front later. But then let me measure my sleeve, round sleeve here. My round sleeve here is going to be 15 inches. Divided by 2 is 7.5. I'll add 1 inch to that, 8.5. Then I'll confirm the armhole I measured earlier from the 11 to this point. This is where my 11 stop. I can add like half inch to it to be on the safer side. It's better for the sleeve to be wider than the body to be wider than the sleeve. I hope you understand. So now I can cut. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Okay, you can fold here over now and make sure you cut it properly. Let me take this one out. Make sure you cut it properly. You can see now, and put a notch here. This is what we have there. You can see. Then the next thing to do is to come back here and reshape our armhole. The front armhole is going to be deeper than the back. I'll notch the shoulder points here. It's going to be deeper than the back with half inch, just same way we cut the body. Okay, this is it. You can see what we have. This is the gap between the front and the back. You can see the gap here. So that is what you need. Now the deepness of it is at the down part of the sleeve, like this. That is from the midpoint, like 1 inch a bit from the midpoint, like we did for the front. Okay, if you measure here, divide it by 2, you go down by 1 inch. That is where you have the half inch difference. Okay, thank you for watching, and this is everything you need about your senator outfit. You can go ahead now and cut your back yoke, cut every design you want to use for your senator outfit, and then you are done. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Please ensure to like, give us a thumbs up, subscribe and share our video. Please drop your comment to help us grow this channel. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again in my next video.